see a lot of cliches in how we cover motherhood. So it's very rare to see an article about working motherhood that doesn't use the word juggle. And I hate the word juggle. Juggle is something a clown does. Juggle has no agency. And really what juggle is talking about is executive level multitasking or sort of performance under huge amounts of pressure. But juggle just makes it's infantilizing. And I think we can use better words and less cliches in our coverage of motherhood. I also hate the word mompreneur because it basically implies that anyone who's a real entrepreneur is a man, and that the right way to be an entrepreneur is the venture capital 2,000 times growth way, and that there's no other legitimate way to be an entrepreneur. So I'd love to see us get past some of these cliches. The Double Shift is an independently produced podcast, which is something that's becoming harder and harder to do. But we are a hit, and we have found our audience, I think, because people are so desperate for different stories about motherhood. We don't tell mothers they need to change. We don't talk about parenting. Instead, we tell really interesting, diverse stories about motherhood that come from a place of believing that mothers have changed enough. We're not telling anyone to be different. We're really just highlighting what is complicated and interesting and messy and hard and beautiful about being a working mother, and not suggesting that we have solutions to fix you. And I think that has really resonated powerfully with audiences. I, in my talk about my own experience as a working mother and how I had some difficult experiences, including some health challenges from my son and losing my job when he was an infant, that really made me feel like a failure. And I felt alone in that failure. I felt like everybody had this working mom thing figured out except for me, and I was just personally defective. But as I've turned all my reporting to this topic, I see how common it is to feel like failures, and so many mothers feel like failures. But when you look at all of the different forces that go into making us feel like failures, this inadequate family leave, anti-mom bias in the workplace, job discrimination, not being able to earn as much after we have children, the lack of public policy support, all of these things are not our fault. And a lot of times I say this to people, and I tell people I believe America is failing us as mothers. The simplest thing that I think managers and men can do to support working mothers is to create a culture where men take their full paternity leave. They're offered a robust paternity leave, and they take the full paternity leave. So this has shown that this actually reduces bias against mothers in the workplace. It creates more equal relationships at home, and it makes the men who take the leave much more empathetic to people with caregiving responsibilities. So if there's these issues are so complicated, but if there's one quick fix for changing culture in a newsroom, it is giving full paternity leave and creating a culture where people take it.